Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not, right?
Yes, we are able to see us.
Yes. So whenever, okay, we install Python, right? So go to the start programs within this. Python 3.10, click this ideally, right? Python shell gets open in this way, right? We want to work with batch mode, file, new file, yes. Okay. So today we discuss about data types, right? Data types in Python. Every organization, just every organization use case has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types and variables. Data represented using data types and variables. Operations represented using functions. Talk about any organization has got a data and operations. Data represented using data types and variables. Operations represented using functions. Okay. Observe this diagram once. So if we talk about any organization, right? Like example, like take any organization like bank. Bank consists of customers, employees. Customers has got data and operations. Customers data operations. Data represented using data types. For example, customer name, account number, customer name, account number, balance. customer name, account number, balance, address. So this data represented using data types or variables. Data types or variables, right? Yes. Operations represented using operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, and transfer operation, right? Transfer operation using functions. Employees data and operations. Employees also like employee ID, employee ID, right? 101, employee name, designation, manager. Okay. Employee details by using data types and variables. Data types or variables. Operations, right? Employee operations like calculating tax, calculating net salary. All these are represented by using functions. Later we discuss about functions, but data, if you talk about any organization, right, it will have data and operations. Data represented by using data types or variables. Data types or variables, right? Okay. So if you talk about any programming language, C or C++ or Java or Python, right? Any programming language, they represents data. They represents data, right? Using data types or variables. Using data types or variables. On that data, we perform operations. On that data, we perform operations, right? Using functions. On that data, we perform, okay, using data types or variables, operations using functions. Okay. Data using data types or variables, operations using functions. Fine. If we compare like data types like C, C++, or Java using Python, comparing with C, C++, Java with Python, right? Python supports dynamic data types. It supports dynamic data types. In other programming languages, if you want to define like X as 10, compulsory, the data type defining is mandatory. Y equal to 4.5 means compulsory, we need to say float Y. If you take something in characters, sequence collection of characters, right? For example, a city name, string Z. But in the case of Python, no need to define this data types, right? So in other programming, without this data types, variable creation is not possible. But here in Python, directly we can say x has 10, y has 4.5, z has some string like hello, right? No need to define the data types here in Python. No need to define the data types. No need to define the data types. Okay. X has 10, y has 4.5, z has hello, right? Yes. So what kind of variable x is here in this case? What kind of variable x is means based on the data type defining, you are saying it is integer variable. You are saying it as float variable. You are saying this as string variable, right? You are saying it as int, you are saying it as float, you are saying this as string. But what kind of variable x is here? Means what value you are assigning to it. If you are assigning an integer variable, if you are assigning integer, so if you are assigning an integer value, then integer variable gets created. What value you are assigning to a variable, right? If you are assigning integer value, then integer variable created dynamically, right, during runtime. If you are assigning a float value, something in decimals, right, then a float variable creates. If you are assigning a string, if you are assigning a string, then string variable creates. So based upon what value you are assigning to that variable, they're assigning integer value, integer. So here there is a function in Python, right? Type to know the type of x, what type it is. It is integer type. Why it is integer? Because you assigned a integer value to it. Type of phi. Type of phi is what type? Float. Why it is float? Because you are assigned a float value to it. Type of z. Type of z is what? String type. Why it is string? You have assigned a string value to it. So depending upon this, what value you are assigning to that, based on that, the variables are going to get created dynamically, right? Yes. Okay. So now type of x is integer. Why it is integer? Because you have assigned a integer value. Type of phi is float type. Why it is float? You assigned a float value to it. And z equal to hello, type equal to string. Why it is string? Means you have assigned a string value. This is what we call dynamic data types in Python. So now I'm going to discuss 4 cases now to make you understand what happens internally when you define some variables here in Python. Case 1. So whenever I say x has 10, whenever I say x has 10, right, then internally one object gets created. Internally one object gets created with value 10. It's going to occupy some physical memory location address. It's going to occupy some address. That address is given to x. So here try to answer what x is storing, what x stores. Don't say like x stores 10. Don't say like x storing 10. X stores the address. Observe, x stores the address. So here 3 things you need to understand here, right? Whenever I say print x, right? Whenever I say print x, it goes to this address. It goes to this address and prints the content. What is the content present at that address? So here print x means prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address. What is the content at that address? 10. If I want to print the address id of x, if I want to print the address itself, there is a function in Python, id of x prints the address of x. Address of x is what? 103070. If you want to know where exactly it is, Type of X, print type of X, right? Yes. Data type of X is integer type. Prints the content at that address 10, and ID of X prints the address of X. Address of X means 103070. Prints type of X prints the data type of X. Prints the data type of X, right? So here three things you need to understand. For printing the content, print X. For printing the address, where exactly it is stored, ID of X. Print a type of X. Type of X means prints the data type of X. Data type of X is what type? Integer type, right? Yes. Case 1. Next is case 2. Understood this case 1, right? Whenever you define some variables, what happens internally? Whenever you, if you want to print the content, if you want to print the address, or if you want to print the type. X value is 10. Y is 20. X value is 10. Y is 20. Now try to answer, right? Now I want everyone to just interact. So everyone try to use the responses, right? How many objects gets created here? When X equal to 10, Y equal to 20. Internally, how many objects gets created? Yes. For 10, one object with some address. The address is given to X. Y equal to 20. Yes. One object gets created with some address 104090. That address is given to Y. So now, so from here on, right, you can just give your responses through voice or through chat panel. So I want the sessions to be interactive. So try to say what is print X value here? Print X. Print X is what? 10. ID of X. Address ID of X.
103070.
103070. Type of X. Type means what value you have assigned to it.
Integer.
Integer, right? Yes. Next, similarly for print Y. Print Y means what is the value? Yes.
20.
20. Yes. Print address of Y. Where exactly it is address of Y? 104090. Print type of Y. What value you have assigned to it? Integer, right? Integer value. So here, if you observe two different variables, X and Y, with the two different values 10 20, then two different objects gets created with the two different addresses. These things you need to understand. So two different variables has got two different values, then two different objects gets created, two different addresses. If you print the content, print X. If you want to print their addresses, ID of X. If you want to print what type they are, type. So there are functions like ID function to print the address, type function to print their data type, right? Now, based on this, right, now try to understand this. Case 3. X value is 10. X is there, Y is there. Y is 10. Now try to answer everyone. Try to give your response through voice or through chat panel. how many objects gets created here? How many objects are going to get created here?
So 2.
So everyone observe carefully here. Two objects are not created here. Only one object gets created. Only one object you will see here, right? So here internally, one object with value 10. It is going to have some address. The address is given to X. This is fine. Understood, right? X equal to 10. One object with value 10 gets created with some address. Before creating object for Y, right? Before creating object for Y, first it checks any object with value 10 already available or not. If available, the same address will be given to Y. One more object with value 10 won't be created. Means if X is there, Y is assume if even Z also there. Don't think like the 3 objects with value 10 gets created. If already available, the same address will be given to X, Y, and Z. Means what is your observation here? Assume X value 10, Y value 20, Z value 30. In such case, how many objects created? If X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. In such case, how many objects created?
3.
3 objects. 3 objects, right? If values are different, 3 objects. If values are same, X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. Only one object, only one address. So X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, they are sharing the same content 10. They are sharing the same address. So if I say like print X or print Y, print Z, they are going to print the same value 10. Address, if I say like address of X, ID of X, ID of Y, address of Z, right? They're going to see the same address, right? 103070. Talk about the type of X, type of Y, type of Z. What type? Integer type. Whenever you define 3 variables, X as 10, Y as 10, Z as 10, only one object with value 10 gets created. Its address is given to X, Y, and Z. Understanding, right? Case 3. Now observe this case 4. So I'll show you all these things practically, right, today itself. Case 4. Now try to answer for this. This time, previously I have taken X and Y, right? Now I'm taking X as 10. Now I'm taking X as 20. I didn't take X and Y. I am taking X as 10, X is 20. Now try to answer. How many objects gets created here?
2.
10 with some address. Okay, for 20 also one object gets created. For 20 also one object gets created with some address. The address is given to X.
But X value rewrite the code.
So here, if I say print X, now try to answer. If I say print X, what is the X value it prints? Whether it will print 10
20.
or whether it will print 20 or whether it will print both. What is your
20.
answer? Yes. So it always prints the latest value, right? Previously X value 10, now X value 20. Print X prints the latest value, right? 20. Address, if you want to print the address, right? ID at the ID of X. ID of X is what? 104080, right? If you want to see the type, data type of X, it is integer type. And here X equal 20. What happens to the previous one? It gets removed. Whenever X equal to 20, the previous one gets removed. If I say X equal to 30 here, if I say X equal to 30, what happens to 20? 20 gets removed. Okay. Case 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Yes. Now I'll show you these things practically now. Fine. So whenever we install Python, go to this start programs, check where your Python available, right? Python 3.10, click it. This first thing what we see here, IDLE, right? It opens in interactive mode. This is interactive mode. Any valid Python statements you can type in check. X has 10, Y has 4, X plus Y gives 14, X minus Y, right? If I want to work with batch mode, file, new file, and write your statements here, right? Yes. So this is comment in Python. This is comment in Python. It's not executable, right? So case one, I'm saying defining a variable. Defining a variable, right? Yes. Okay, defining a variable. If X value is 10, if X is 10, right? Print X. ID of X. Type of X and type of X, right? Yes. Print X, print address of X and print type of X. Print X means it prints 10. ID of X means the address where exactly it is stored. Type of X means data type, right? Yes. Okay. So I created a separate folder for this batch, right? Python 6 AM. int1.py, right? Yes. Run module, if we say like it prints, yeah. Check it once again. Run module. X equal to 10 prints 10. Address, right? Where exactly it is stored, address of X. Type of X is what type? Int type. Print X prints the address, add a ID of X prints the address, type of X is what type? Integer type. Now I'll just copy the same thing, right? So once again, you observe this output, printing the content, printing the address, printing the type. Type is integer. This is the address where exactly it is stored. Print X the content. Now observe this case 2, right? Yes. Case 2. Defining two different variables. Case 2 is what? Observe this case 2 once. So case 2, two different variables, X has 10 and X has 20. Then two different variables gets created with two different addresses. This is case 2, right? So defining two different variables. two different variables with two different values. Two different objects gets created. Defining two different variables with two different values, then two different objects gets created. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects gets created with the two different addresses, right? Okay. X has 10, print x, id of x, type of x. Okay. Similarly, y equal to 20, y value is 20, right? Y is 20, print x. Okay. Address of y and type of y. Print x, address of x, type of x. Print y, address of y and type of y. Save it as int2.py, right? So can you answer the address of x and address of y? Will it be same or different? Try to answer. Address of x and address of y.
Different.
Different addresses, right? Because the values are different. So two different values, two different objects gets created with two different addresses. Run module. Okay. Now observe this case 3, right? Just I'll copy this everything for case 3. Yes. Yeah, defining two different variables with same values. Two different variables with same values. Observe this output of the previous one, previous example, right? Observe this output. If x is 10, y is 20. Address of x, address of y will be different. Just observe here. Save it first. Sorry, not this. Run module. The case 2. If the contents are different, address is also different, right? If 10 one object for 21 object gets created with different addresses, right? Yes. That is case 2. Now observe to this case 3, right? Two different variables with same values. Two different variables with same values. Then only one object gets created. Then only one object gets created. Then only one object gets created and its address. Defining two different variables with same values, then only one object gets created and its address is returned to both the variables. Its address is returned to both the variables. X is 10, y is 10, right? X value is 10, y is 10. So print x, address of x, type of x. Print y, address of y and type of y. Now try to answer that. The address of x and address of y, is it same or different? The address of x and address of
Same.
y, it must be same, right? It should be
Yes.
same. Save it first. I'm saving it as int3 dot py, right? Yes. Run module. 10, 10. Two values with the two different addresses. This and this. This is one address, this is one. So here same address, right? Can you check 10 and 10? If the values are same, the addresses also should be same, right? Same address. Contents are same, address are same, type also same, right? Yes. Now observe this case 4 now. Case 4.
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, when you perform different operation on X or Y, then how it will be controlled? For example, X you are multiplying, Y you are adding on the value of variable Y if you are adding something. Variable X you are multiplying something, then how it will be?
So here, okay, if you are just saying from X, your X into 5, you are saying, right? You'll store the variable in Z. Z, a new variable Z is created. Z value is what? 10, 50. Z value is what? 50. 50 means again one object gets created for it. It will have its 50, will have its address, right? If you're saying X into 5 and you store the value in Z, a new object is created for it with value 50.
Okay.
Now observe this case 4, right? Yes. Defining, right? Two different variables. Defining two different variables. Defining two variables with same name. Defining two variables with same name, X and X. with same name but with different values, but with different values. Two variables with same name but with different values. Then two different objects. Gets created, two different objects gets created. And the previous object gets removed. Two variables with same name but with different values, then two different objects gets created and the previous object gets removed. X value is 10. X value is 20. X and X, right? Print X means always the latest value. Address of X, the address of this type of X is what? Integer type. Print X 20, address of X. Type of X is what? Integer type, right? Yes. Print X 20, it's address, and this is what? Type is what? Integer type. Okay. Understood these four cases, right, everyone? So print X means here 20, address of X, the address of 20. The type of X means that integer type, but the previous object gets removed, right? So these are the four cases. Run model, it always prints 20, the address of 20, type of 20. Any queries in these three cases? Case 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, now coming to this data types, right? Yes. Data types. The type of data to be used, right, when defining some value. Fine. Data types are of two types. Fundamental data types, yes, and collection data types. Fundamental data types, object holding object, object holding group of values, object holding group of values, right? Fundamental data types, object holding single value, collection data type, object holding group of values. Example of this, x equal to 10, one object getting created with value 10 with some address. The address is given to x. So here object to holding single value, object to holding single value. Here collection data type, the name itself saying that collection of values or group of values, collection of values or group of values. Example, x equal to values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here also one object gets created with the values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Address 104060, that address is given to x, right? Yes. So here object holding group of values, right? Object to holding object holding group of values. Object holding single value, object holding group of values, right? Yes. Now fundamental data types, just I'll take 2 more minutes. It's fundamental data types, 5 types. Integer, float, boolean, string, complex. Integer means something like age 25 cent. Float is something like height 6.2, something in float decimal values. Boolean means true or false. String means something sequence collection of characters like Hyderabad, right? Yes. Complex 3 plus 4j, right? 3 plus 4j, right? 3 plus 4i, 3 plus 4j, right? Okay. Collection data types, 4 types. List, tuple, set, dictionary. List by using squared bracket, tuple by using normal braces, set by using curly braces, dictionary by using curly braces only, but key value representations. Key value representations means, for example, like name Ajay, age 25. Name is the key, Ajay is the value. Age is the key, 25 is the value, right? Key value representations. Key value representations, right? Yes. So these are, so we'll be discussing everything in brief, right? We have got a lot of discussion on collections like list properties, list indexing, list slicing, list functions, list methods, list addresses, nested list, modifying lists. So we have got a lot of discussion. We'll be discussing more than 1 week on this collection data types, right? And before that, we discuss about fundamental data types, right? So tomorrow my discussion will be on fundamental data types, right? Everyone, you can attend the session tomorrow, same time, using same link, right? Fundamental So I'll be discussing on fundamental data types, more discussion on strings, string indexing, string slicing, string functions, string methods, string special characters, right? Okay. And follow the same link and you can attend the session tomorrow, right? Any queries you have got as part of today's session, anyone? Right?
How to download modules?
Yeah, I'll be discussing that. What is a module? What a module consists of? Which modules are available in our Python, which are not available, and how to download, how to install, different ways of importing, how to rename it, how to reload it. Okay, now what is normal import from everything we'll be discussing, right? Fine. In modules concept. So I'm stopping here for today. Yeah, any other queries?
Hi Vijay.
Yes, yes.
Actually, you said like we're gonna get like a link for these videos or in our Google Drive. But what I have noticed, like we haven't received anything. Just only I got like one, but still that one is also not working. When I'm trying to open that one, I'm getting the message, something like please wait, still we are processing. But after that, like for class second, third, I haven't received any videos yet.
So everyone try to confirm once, right? Yesterday's video you have got received or not. Check your Google Drive shared with me option.
Received, sir.
Received, right? So everyone try to, okay, everyone just check your Google Drive shared with me option, right? So if, okay, Google Drive shared with me option, right? You can check those, the videos will be available, right? Fine. Okay, fine. So I'm stopping here. We'll continue tomorrow, same time. Follow the same link, right? Yes. Fine.